Welcome to the creative brain of Dean Hawk. Get ready to be challenged, inspired, and equipped to become a better ministry leader.
Hey, welcome to the Dean Hawk Leadership Podcast. This is Dean. I'm so glad to have you joining us this month. Please be sure and share this podcast with ministry friends, pastor friends, if it is blessing you. And of course, you can always give us a good rating. If you don't like it, please don't rate us. Anyways, hey, I hope you're having an amazing summer. It is the middle of July, smack dab in the middle of summer. And one of the things I want to talk about is you think about gearing back up for the fall, back to school, and leading your team. Is today I want to talk about the anatomy of a staff meeting. One of the things that happens is we get used to the way we do staff meetings, and we don't really know, is this staff meeting doing good? Is it doing bad? Is it how are we doing? And so I just want to break down and get some practical information out to you guys on some things we are very intentional about in our staff meetings. And just because when I traveled, I would hear this often. One of the first things I'm going to say is you need to have a weekly staff meeting. I know of some churches that they rarely meet with their team, where they say, well, most of my team are dual employed. They're part-time for me and we can't meet during the day. Well, I, as a pastor, am going to adjust my schedule and we might meet every Monday night, every Tuesday night, whatever that looks like. But what I'm going to be referring to today is primarily for what I would call our lead team meeting. This is going to be youth pastor, worship pastor, children's pastor, volunteer coordinator, key leadership, Kim and I, and then I'm not always in all of these. I've backed out, and a lot of this happens without me now at this point and stage of our life. But we basically want all of our department heads represented. And then once a month, we have an all-staff meeting that is for everyone who is part-time, everyone from maintenance to our office assistants to some of our nursery, preschool directors that are part-time. We're going to bring everybody together once a month for an all-staff meeting. And that isn't so much to go through business, but it's to share wins. It's to pray together. It's for some leadership coaching and some training and some things like that, just to help pack the snowball and build our unity together. And so here's what I would just tell you. Have a standing day and time set that you are going to meet with your team. Our work week here at Rock Family Church is Sunday through Thursday. And so we have opted that we are going to begin our Mondays at 9:30 a.m. with our lead team meeting. Now, here is a big one. Our goal, now we haven't always been this way, so it's not like we've perfected, we're still learning, but our goal is to meet no longer than 60 minutes because it's often too easy to drain the team and drain people, and meetings last forever. I'll never forget, I was just a couple years into my senior pastor role, and one of my staff members bought me the book. Is it Death by Meeting by Mike Lencioni? And it has a great book. I'd encourage you to read it. And I got the message that maybe our meetings were going too long and it was wearing our staff down. And so to get a meeting to fit into 60 minutes, you're going to have to be very intentional and keep things moving. And then I strongly encourage that you use some sort of shared agenda. We use both, all of our staff members use both Microsoft Teams and Microsoft OneNote. We've chosen to use OneNote for our meeting agenda, and it's a great tool so that all can see in real time as things are being added. They can build and add to the upcoming agenda for the Monday meeting if there's things they want to cover. And they can add talking points, and then it gives us a highly visible and trackable online document to track progress of staff, of departments, or updates on projects. And then we also use this for major event reviews, that after Easter, we sat down this last spring. We said, what worked, what didn't work? What do we need to change for Easter 2025? And so about 6-8 weeks out, before Easter in 25, we're going to go back and review what we learned in the previous year to make us sharper. And then here is a key that you want to accomplish in your staff meetings. You want to create a safe space for honest feedback. You, as the leader, should be asking questions and leaving time for responses. And here's what you need to realize, that everyone wants to please you as the leader. And so they're going to be prone to say, well, Pastor, what do you think? Pastor, what do you want? What do you see? And what can happen is staff members don't give their honest opinion. They give the opinion that they think you want to hear. And what all that does is cripples growth, it cripples creativity, it hinders progress, because if we're functioning off of my ideas, my creativity, and my brain power, then we are hindered. In the multitude of counselors, in the multitude of a team, there is safety, there's creativity, there's growth, and there's progress. And so one of the greatest things you can do as a leader is when someone shares a unique idea, a distinct perspective, is A, commend them, and B, act upon their input and their advice. It demonstrates their opinion counts and that they are a valuable member of your team. So I'm going to just run through some elements of our lead team meeting. We always just begin with a short prayer, but then a highlight of our staff meeting every single week is we always celebrate what God has done in the lives of our members, our church, family, and among us as a staff. And we always begin with sharing wins from the previous 7 days. And that is just always a blast to hear what God is doing. Thirdly, we're going to potentially do some leadership coaching. This is just going to be potentially for a few minutes. Periodically, I might come in and I might do a longer teaching. And this doesn't necessarily need to happen every week, but maybe it's an area for us to sharpen on. Maybe it's a reminder, hey, return text and emails within 24 hours. Maybe it's a leadership strategy. Might be me sharing, here is the new teaching series that is coming up. Here's where I want us to direct our faith for the ministry as we approach this topic. And maybe we're going to approach some team building skills there in that mindset. Number 4, we're going to review the previous Sunday services, any challenges that might have arisen in all departments, because we have all the department heads there. And we review what we call our Make It Better list. We used to call it challenges, and we're like, that's kind of negative. This is our Make It Better list. This is where we can improve and we can make it better. And this is a place for any staff member to note any issues, challenges, or changes that are needed. And it goes across department boundaries. So maybe our worship pastor says, man, I was in the lobby and I noticed the kids' check-in computer line was massively backed up big time in second service. We can dialogue what happened. Computers were down. Internet was down. How can we avoid that? How can we learn? We'll discuss issues or problems that each department may have faced. You say, well, why would you do that with everyone in there? We don't spend a lot of time, but I can learn if I'm youth pastor, I can learn maybe from something that happened in children's ministry, something that took place, technical, whatever that might be. We can all learn to sharpen ourselves. And many times other staff members have insider information or other elements that they can offer that play into the situation that gives a keener insight. Well, she came and talked to you, but she had talked to me first service, and now she's asking you the same thing second service. And so they didn't get the answer they wanted with one staff member, so they went to the other staff member. And so that's where the communication is vital and key. Number 5, we review our church calendar and we discuss upcoming events, projects, and assignments. We will talk about who's out of the office, who's on vacation, who's going to be owning that assignment, and then tasks are assigned and noted in OneNote. And there at the bottom of our OneNote is where we have our Make It Better, and we're going through with that. Number 6, we're going to review the upcoming weekend services, activities, and events. Kids Church is having a Friday night event. The youth are having a Saturday event. This is what's happening this Sunday. It's a communion Sunday. It's baby dedication. It's water baptism. What are the things? Maybe it's a special holiday that's coming up as we just got through Mother's Day, Memorial Day, and Father's Day. Of what are we going to do to make those services special? Any changes to the order of the service? Anything outstanding that's going to happen? Then number 7, we review the pastor on call rotation, and then we download any information, situations, or members that need to be, quote, handed off to the next on-call pastor and what needs to happen there. Number 8, we review and update our call to action section. And this is where we create a list of what is going to happen, and this list grows and develops as we go through the meeting, and the task is written down and the employee's name that is assigned to it, as we use the term, who's going to own it. And here's what this does. It keeps it out in front of all of the people for all to see. And so our goal is that we're requiring that these call to action items are going to be done by Thursday at 5 p.m., unless it's something that's a bigger project than can happen that week. And then what the staff member does is they go in, when a task is completed, they go in and it's highlighted yellow, means that it's in process, and they highlight it to gray, means that it's incomplete. Anything that is left over hanging from last week is brought into this week's agenda and this week's task list. And then number 9, be sure someone is taking notes and updating your OneNote and keeping things up to par. Then our goal is to break around 10:30, and we give people some time to maybe start knocking out some things, answering some emails. And then we have our accountability lunch at 11:30. I take the guys at 11:30. Kim will take the girls. We'll go to lunch. This isn't a work lunch. This is how are you and Jesus doing? What's God teaching you? How's your family? This is building and strengthening our core relationships. We get back from lunch, and then we all gather in one of our auditoriums, kids auditorium, youth auditorium, main auditorium, and we gather for staff prayer for 30 minutes. And by that time, all of the prayer requests have been collected from Sunday and from the emails. And then that is empty the building. Everyone who is in the building, office assistants, maintenance people, whoever's in the building, pastors, we all meet and gather and pray for 30 minutes over those needs and requests. And then we always end that prayer time is, hey, is there anything going on with any of you personally? We don't want to pray for everyone else and not pray for our staff members. So that's how we function. It's brief, short, quick, but I just want to give you a little insight on that. Be sure and check out all of our resources. We just finished a great series called Pause, and I would encourage you to check that series out. It's talking about being busy, rhythms of rest, meditation, pausing for love. I can't margin. Lots of great topics in there that can help you out as you plan and look forward to your sermon preaching schedule. So God bless you guys. We'll see you next month.
Thank you for joining us today. For a free sermon series and teaching outlines by Pastor Dean, visit us at deanhawk.com. Be sure and join us next month as we continue our growth on leadership.